Yeah, it did.
Hey, man, we're live.
Hey, buddy.
Happy
Yeah,
early
we are.
Thursday. Yeah, happy early Thursday, Graham. Uh,
Thank
we
you.
are we are Dog Sports Live coming to you with our SEC championship game preview. My partner is there from the Best Western Plus in Bozeman, Montana.
Damn right.
Graham, Dog Out West on the Twitter. I am Josh, also known as Dog Stats on the Twitter. Graham, 12-0, man.
Yes, sir. 12
12
and
and 0.
0 with a shot at redemption, man. I mean, it's redemption, right? Like that's what this is, I would think. Would you agree with that?
I'm gonna push back on that narrative just a little bit, just because we've talked about how this team
Please.
is different. This team doesn't have ghosts or things that it's scared of. This team has been on a mission. It doesn't feel the pressures of 2017 or even 2018 or 1980 or any of those things. This team, you know, there are some players, I think maybe a couple that were on the 2018 team, but like we've said all year long, you can believe in this team. And so I think it's redemption clearly for the fans, the fan base, but I think this team is out there to win it for themselves and also for Dog Nation. That's my thoughts.
I think that's well put and well said. Yeah, it's been tough this week trying to like differentiate between what's narrative, what's real. I mean, there's definitely a storyline here. These guys, like, they know what this game means, and the reason I say that is just because I think this team, probably more than any Georgia team in my lifetime, is like kind of tuned into the psyche of this fan base in a pretty real way, and it seems like a lot of these guys know, that it's been 41 years and that Georgia fans have seen some heartbreak in those 41 years, and I think they want to deliver, and I think that this is a big step in delivering that.
I don't know how many times, I'm sure there's been number ones in the playoff rankings from the beginning to the end, but we do have a chance to go, not from the AP poll or coaches poll, but certainly the playoff committee rankings, take it all the way home, which would be cool. I think that the defense, as we've well documented, and everyone in the country realizes how special this defense is definitely the unit that gets the most attention. But with that, we're going to look at the offense, right? We're going to start off on the offense. And,
Yes, sir.
And so Georgia's actually, I think if you look at the national metrics from CFB stats, it's going to show you 6.9. These are my play-by-play data scraped things. So it's got a little different ways of calculating it, but 6.9, 7.1, whatever it is, it's good. This is one of our better offenses that we've had. 50.3% success rate and a 0.321 EPA, and that 1.244 explosiveness is probably the only offensive metric that's not, really, really great. But what are you, we've talked about the offense a lot, Graham. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about it, where we are as a team?
Oh, I think like what you saw from Georgia against Georgia Tech last Saturday was exactly what you wanted to see from this team if you're a Georgia fan. The interior run game still remains kind of so-so, and I don't think that's changing at this point in the season. But like Stetson Bennett looked as good as he's ever looked, in my personal opinion. He came out hot, and I think in his first 12 attempts, he completed passes to 10 different receivers. They were, those 10 completions were over 200 yards, and they had a couple touchdowns. Like, they were clicking, and it felt like one of those things where Todd Monken was laying stuff on tape for Alabama, where it's like, all right, you want to take something away? Go ahead. What do you want to take away? What do you want to leave open?
Yeah, and there's a lot of, I'm going to have some scrolling stats here that, Stetson Bennett pure yardage is near the bottom of the SEC, but they've been extremely efficient. That 50.3% success rate. I put out a post on Dog Sports this week, sort of talked about the explosive plays, which are really just, if you think of explosive plays as how good are your successful plays, Georgia's right there with Ohio State and Alabama in terms of the successful plays leading to points. And that's just the ultimate efficiency, that you can decide. You don't waste those plays. They're not garbage plays. They put actual points on the board. They're averaging actually a little better than Alabama's. Alabama's actually been trending down as their schedule is a little backloaded with tougher teams. For every successful play Georgia has, it's putting 1.3 points on the board. So that's all
wild.
on the flip side, the Alabama defense is allowed 0.8. So it's like, if we can, get to even to their point of a successful play per point, we'll be putting points on the board no matter how good this defense that Alabama's trotting out there, because this offense is getting it done.
Yeah, for sure. No. And I mean, I think that the notion that I wanted to dispel a little bit, because back to that dirty inward narrative that we were talking about a minute ago, there's this idea that it's Alabama's passing offense versus the Georgia defense, and that's what this game is. And that's not the case. Alabama's passing yards per play, as you have documented, is 9.3. Georgia's passing yards per play is 9.5. Stetson Bennett is actually a more accurate passer on throws 20-plus yards down the field than Bryce Young is. And so and a greater percentage of his attempts come 20-plus yards down the field than Bryce Young's. So I think, on the whole, the totality of this thing is Georgia is a very, very good passing offense in its own right. And there's a lot that you have to do to stop Georgia on offense. Just like there's a lot that you got to do to stop Alabama on offense. But this idea that this game is just kind of these two units playing against each other, I think is a big, big wrong narrative.
Well, one of the things,
whatever you want to call it.
One of the things we had a great debate early on in the season, especially when it looked like where Stetson Bennett was going to be the quarterback for, at the time, a few starts. Now he's arguably one of the best quarterbacks efficiency wise in the country. But, going into that Auburn game, I was a little worried about going into our first, true road game. I wrote a piece about how the explosiveness needed to improve, and it absolutely has. Georgia's offense has actually been trending up the entire season, which is completely different from last year. I've got the passing offense versus the passing defense for Alabama, and that 1.738 explosiveness. Again, think of the explosiveness actually plays that put points on the board. And if you're telling me every time we had successful pass play and we're having 50% of them, we're averaging, probably, that's actually putting points on the board. So when you see these big plays, Georgia's able to string them together and put points on the board. And even against a tough defense, if we're not putting points on the board with them, you're going to be winning field position battles, which is, as we know, in a tight game, which is will probably be a close game, is super critical. All right. Enough yakking. You want me to cue up some plays here?
Let's do it. Yeah. So looking at Alabama, yeah, I do. So the Alabama front, I'm sorry, if you play Alabama soft, we're looking at Alabama's defense. I'm sorry. We're good. The Alabama front does not have a game breaker on it like in years past. There is no Jordan Davis. There's no Jalen Carter. There's not Trevon Walker. There's none of those guys on the Alabama front. And that means these linebackers have to take on blockers and make decisions on where to attack the run. And they don't do a very good job of it. Is this the second play right here that you're playing right now?
This is the second play now.
Okay. So, yeah, it should be mentioned that Arkansas in this game, they struggled at right guard at times, as you can see there, which Georgia has this year as well. So, if you let these guys cross your face, bad things can happen. But there's not a Quinnen Williams or, some of these guys that you've seen in the past on Alabama's defensive line. And I think that hurts their linebackers a lot. What raises a bit of a red flag for me is that Arkansas was able to throw, as you're going to see right here, on obvious passing downs versus Alabama. Henry Toto, he gets picked on a lot in the passing game. And I think Bama's linebackers across the board, they're not good in pass coverage. And so there's things that they don't do very well. One of them is that with with Toto, like there you see they put him in conflict and he chooses wrong. And you're going to see Burks, he decides to rush the passer, leaves Burks. Burks is able to go make a play. So I think if you're offensive coordinator, if you're Todd Monken, you want to go and force him to make decisions. Will Anderson is a great pass rusher, but you can control him at times by letting him rush upfield. Like a mobile guy like Bennett will have plenty of chances to break, contain, and make throws downfield. But the big thing that I see that Georgia can take advantage of is this guy right here, number 28, Josh Jobe. Alabama's defenders aren't that good in coverage. There's not a true lockdown corner on this team. And a lot of teams have spent the year hunting Jobe. And Arkansas did it. They targeted him 4 times in that game. They had 4 receptions for 149 yards throwing on Josh Jobe. And so on the season, he's given up 70.8% reception percentage when targeted, and he's given up 14.2 yards a catch. So, I mean, he's one of the boundary corners, man. Like, he's matched up on somebody every play in the past game. He's not like a linebacker where it's like you've got to kind of tinker to get him matched up. Like, you can go at this guy over and over and over. Jalen Armour-Davis is the other DB, and he is much better.
Yeah, just got some stats up here. Josh Jobe is at 66.2 on the pass grade there, and you're talking about Davis right there is at 82.2. Jobe is giving up 14 yards per catch as opposed to your boy Davis that you're about to talk about is 10.5. So yeah, I mean, you can throw on these guys. You can see that Battle is really the only standout there PFF grade wise. So I do think that we're going to have some success, even though this defense as a whole is pretty good against the pass.
Yeah. I really like how Georgia matches up against the secondary. Like if you want to go back into the plays, like Malachi Moore is one of their safeties, and he's a good player, but he doesn't perform great in man coverage. Like you're going to see Arkansas go after him here, and I think a guy like Bowers or Cook can take advantage of a matchup like that. Like this is the type of situation where you force him to tackle in space against a big physical pass catcher, and you're going to see some success. Toto, we remember him from Tennessee. He's their inside linebacker, him and Christian Harris. He's a thumper, but you see right there, like he doesn't have great lateral quickness in the hole. He makes this play, but he kind of misses this run fit, and you see this a lot. These linebackers aren't always super timely with their run fits, and I think a guy like Cook, like that play right there may turn into a big gain down the field. Christian Harris, the other linebacker, he gets lost in coverage quite a bit as well. If you can give your quarterback time, like you're going to be able to.
Here's Christian Harris's play. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. But yeah, if you can give your quarterback enough time for intricate routes to develop, this secondary is prone to busts. Yeah, that's Harris. But like, if you see right here, I think this play is the play where no, it's not. I'm sorry. That's Toto again.
There we go. Here's 91 there.
Yeah, so you see Jobe and Moore, they're going to bump into each other, and this is easy. But Josh Jobe, again, is at the very top of the screen. If you look right off the snap, he gets beat right there. It's over. And he bumps into Malachi Moore, which neither of them should have ever let happen. But, like, this is easy pickings, and there's a ton of separation there. And, like, that's not – if I'm not mistaken, that is not, I believe, Treylon Burks making that play. Like, that is another one of Arkansas's wide receivers. Yeah, it is. So this isn't like you're, an All-American that's beating him off the line here. And I think that, like, I was chatting with Chris Marler at one point last week, and like he was kind of saying the same thing about their secondary as an Alabama fan. Like if you can keep things simple and just let them play things straight up, then yeah, they can do a pretty decent job. But if you have some wheel routes involved, if you have some guys that are in kind of some rub variations and guys that are bumping off each other, you're going to have some success. And I think that Georgia's offensive line has been good enough to create 4 and 5 seconds. And Monken is good enough at rolling the pocket to let Stetson Bennett get away from Will Anderson and create some of these scenarios where Georgia can do some more intricate things with their routes and confuse these guys in zone coverage and in man coverage.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, Alabama's put up some good numbers. They're allowing just, 39% success rate versus the pass. So if you look at these SEC stat concepts, you're not going to see a lot of areas where it looks like they're line up really good with some of the things that Georgia wants to do. That flood variation, which talked about a bunch, that Georgia likes to run and Monken likes to call, is pretty well defended. And they've got a negative EPA on there. Clearly, they picked 1 or 2 of those off for a pick 6 or something like that. But we talked about the flood variation against Tennessee, and we didn't call many of them. Monken had something else up his sleeve. So, they ran some screens, and they, like we've talked about, even going last year with me, you, and Nathan on the battle hymn, we talked that Monken's going to find the plays that will, that will put the defense at stress and get his guys open.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, I think, Will Anderson is obviously kind of the game breaker. And if you hesitate or have bad pockets awareness, you're going to get sacked. But as far as Monken goes, like, this dude is playing with a full deck right now. Pickens is back. Reportedly has taken a lot of snaps this week. Hold on, let's not roll these quite yet.
No, this is that last play on this.
Oh yeah, the Will Anderson play. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, and I mean, I think Will Anderson, right? Like, let's not understate the importance of figuring out a plan for him in this game, because there he's coming on a stunt to the inside and like just kind of creating havoc and getting in there, and by having to account for him, a lot of times you can make mistakes against other rushers that Alabama is bringing because you're trying to focus on him instead. But I think that, we saw Georgia kind of have some trouble early against Florida with some of their pass rushers who, athletically speaking, I would say are probably the closest thing that Georgia's seen to Will Anderson to this point. But then they settled down and things got rolling. I think Darnell Washington is a huge asset in dealing with Anderson. Like, I think you can line him up as an H-back. You can line him up as an inline tight end to help chip. You can do a lot of things with him to sort of slow Anderson. But again, going back to Monken, like, if Monken needs to roll the pocket with Stetson Bennett, well, great. Stetson Bennett's very, very comfortable throwing on the move. Like, there's a lot of answers out there to some of these questions that the Alabama defense poses.
That's not what I wanted. Sorry. I had this passing grades here. Yeah, you're talking about Darnell Washington. He's one of our best blockers. And his passing block grade 63.4, but I mean, he's critical in the run game. He's actually our highest run grade blocker we have on our O-line. So, I know he's been asked to do a lot. I think we thought of him as a guy that was going to stretch defense, but he's been, blocking and doing what he's asked to be done to get it done this year, because I don't know where we'd be actually from that offensive line and some of these some of these runs that we trying to run without, him committing to being a good blocker.
No, absolutely. I'm in agreement with you there. Yeah. I mean, I think, like, if you look at, like, you've seen a lot more explosive run plays happen, I think, since he came back into the lineup, and some of the things that they've been able to do in the screen game lately. That toss sweep to Kenny McIntosh last week against Georgia Tech, like, a lot of those plays are being sprung open by Darnell.
I mean, just looking at this O-line blocking grades and stuff, you can just see how much better they are as a unit on the passing versus the run, which is what we've seen all, it's the same thing our eyes are seeing too. Everyone wants to dog PFF sometimes, but I think, it's just putting a number on what we see, every week that, we need to be better at running the ball. But I think Georgia could end up throwing it 40 times a game, 40 times this game. So, yeah, I do. I mean, I just think, why run, if they're good at running, they're stopping the run, we got to do something else. And we've got plenty of guys that can catch the ball. It may be some screens, some short passes, some slants to go against those linebackers, but I just don't think they're going to try to do inside zone just for the sake of it.
I hope not. I mean, I'm sure they'll run it a couple times, but you never know, man. I think like that's the thing. Despite all of the stuff that we look at and the things that we think we know, there's also there's the game that goes and gets played. And I mean, like that Arkansas game that Georgia played earlier this year, that Arkansas front was, very, very good against the run, against everybody they had played, and they were very disruptive. And Georgia went out there and just pushed for 4 quarters, and it was nothing sexy, but they were pushing them off the ball and getting 5 and 6 yards on a consistent basis, and that was good enough to go win that game. So, I mean, I think a lot of it will depend on game state, but I don't know that you want to, like, we'll get into that later.
Never mind. Here's the Alabama offense, 6.6 yards per play, 47% success rate, almost 48%. I mean, I've said this to you. I've said it to the guys on Locked On. It feels like the teams, if you just took the stickers off the helmet, they're flipped. They're very close teams, but Georgia is better on defense, clearly, and better on offense. And I think that if it were Alabama coming in with Georgia's numbers, we'd be expecting. I don't think the number would be 6.5. In fact, that explosiveness
I agree.
Yeah, that overall explosiveness right there is 1.36. Again, going back to those points, I told you that they're actually putting up 1.2 per successful play. So they're actually, even though it's a good explosive number, they're actually not as explosive as certainly as 2020 Alabama. So they need more plays to string together to score than you think. And Georgia is absolutely maximizing their defense on that. I've talked about it on Dog Sports that their defense is allowing 19 successful plays a game. It averages out to 0.35 points on the scoreboard for each of those successful plays. So you've got to put a lot of plays together to score on this defense. And that number, that 0.35, is almost a quarter point better than the second best team, and that's Penn State. So everyone's talking about how good that defense, but it just shows you those numbers. That's what they mean. It's like, it's hard to score on them. You have to put multiple plays together, and Georgia is so disciplined and coached so well that, even as good as Alabama is, I think it's going to be tough for Alabama to score on us.
I agree. Yeah. So do you want to get into their offense a little bit? So if you play Alabama soft and don't rush the passer, you're going to get picked apart, period. Arkansas played a lot of these soft zones, and Georgia's played a lot more zone this year than they have in years past, but it created, easy completions. Bryce Young is good, and if you don't get your head turned around, especially on the boundaries, you can get in trouble. Paging Keely Ringo. That worries me a little bit in this game, their ability to do some of those types of throws on the sidelines, particularly against Ringo. He just hasn't quite gotten to where he's super comfortable turning his head around in those situations yet. Again, like they love finding gaps in the zones. There you see Bryce finding Jamison Williams. Williams is the game breaker. Like, he's got 4.2 speed that can take a slant and go with it. He's a mismatch, and if you lose track of him, he can make you pay quickly, because you're going to see right here, he will hit top-end speed in just a couple of strides, and all of a sudden he's gone. Now, Georgia has a lot better team speed on defense than Arkansas, but still, he can go. And so I think that Kendrick and Ringo are better corners than what Williams has faced most of the year, and I think that Georgia's pass rush should help mitigate the amount of deep routes that Alabama can run. McCreary.
Sorry. And we're on.
No, you're good.
We're
on.
Yep.
Clip 10.
Clip 10. Okay.
Yep. From the Iron Bowl.
Clip 10 from the Iron Bowl, not clip 10 there.
I'm sorry. That's confusing. It was the 5th play in the sequence. Right there. Yeah. So you saw last week, Auburn kind of manned up on them. They played tighter press coverage, and they made Bryce Young be perfect down the field. Like, they forced him to throw really good balls into the boundary, and it didn't work, right? McCreary did a good job. Iron Bowl 20.
I don't know if I got Iron Bowl 20.
Okay. All right.
That was Iron Bowl 20. I did not have Iron Bowl 10. So here's Iron Bowl 20.
Gotcha. Either way. So Roger McCreary, he'll play defensive back probably in the NFL. But like, he did a good job on these guys, and you could tell that Young wasn't used to throwing in these small windows downfield, right? And I think with tight coverage, it's a different ball game, and he's not as accurate. And the reason that McCreary could play tight coverage is because he knew he had safety help over the top. You see Smoke Monday coming into your screen, and he wasn't afraid of what would happen if Williams does beat him off the line off of some tight press coverage. So Georgia will be able to do that, right? Like, Georgia can play two high safeties all day if they want to. The Bama right tackle, you got the right play. You're in the right spot, is Damian George Jr., and he is not very good. He got beat against Auburn a ton, and Arkansas was able to sack Bryce Young on 3-man rushes because of him. Where are we right now?
I've got Arkansas 23 clip, which is
okay
0.8.
Yeah, cool. So I don't think that Alabama can run on Georgia in obvious short yardage situations. The blocking just isn't good, and they're susceptible to getting knocked back in the interior of the line. You see it there. Like, even with Brian Robinson healthy, I don't think they were capable of running on Georgia. With him out of the lineup, I think they're going to have to abandon the run game for the most part. But Georgia needs to be aware of that. I think that's dangerous to go into the game like not worried about them running at all. But yeah, man, I mean, this, like, you see this offensive line here. They get beat off the ball a lot in run situations and pass situations. They're just not that good. And I think that they haven't seen anything like what Georgia has on the defensive front because there's nothing else like it in college football.
Yeah, I mean, Saban was talking about he's one of the best interior linemen he's ever seen in college.
Right. So, I mean, like, even if you go straight man on the back end, like that play that we just showed, like, if you want to bring the house on Bryce Young and dare someone to get open before you get home on him, it's not a bad gamble to take because you see right there, like, you're probably going to force him to throw something off his back foot, and he's probably going to be backpedaling, and you have a good chance at maybe forcing him into a bad decision. The other wide receiver, I'm sorry.
Nope, that's okay. Just finishing that one up. Iron Bowl 6, I hopefully can find. There it is. It's a little out of order, but we're going to find him. There we go.
You got it. Yeah, you got it. So the other wide receiver you got to stop against Bama is John Metchi. McCreary matched up on him a lot as well and was able to really hold him down for most of the game. And then in that final stretch, he finally was able to get loose and make some plays. But, like, Metchi is good. He's not special like Williams. He doesn't have that crazy high-end speed. You got to watch out for him. You got to have a plan for him. But he's not, a 4-2 guy that's just going to, like, make everyone on the field look slow if you let him into open space. But yeah, you saw right there, like, if you give him inside leverage with no help in the middle, he'll beat you all day. Ultimately, though, the reason why Bama struggled to move the ball against Auburn was that Auburn front four got pressure over and over. And you see, on some of these clips going back and looking at this game, there's some Alabama receivers that are breaking wide open downfield, but Bryce Young can't throw if he's staring at the defense, and he can't throw if he's rolling left and getting chased as a right-hander. Like, that's how you hold this thing down. So that's kind of the scouting report from my eyes.
Everyone's talking, in Georgia Twitter about, the pressure that the Auburn D-line got on Bryce Young, and we're drooling at what Georgia brings to the table with Jalen Carter and Devonta Wyatt and of course, big man, Breadman 99 there. And it's like, yeah, it's tempting to just know that we can put pressure on him, but you've got to finish it. You got to, you can't, Ringo, like you said, and Kendrick are going to have to hold their guys down, because the play is not over until he's on the ground. And that's where that kind of quarterback can beat you. And that's where it's going to take to beat this Georgia defense is, possibly a broken play. And I haven't seen that out of this Georgia team. They were so well coached and disciplined but you and I have been talking for a couple of weeks. It's like, it's about pressure on Bryce. And that's going to be really, that's the only place I can see, us getting beat decidedly is if we can't get him down on the ground.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's some other, I thought he struggled against Auburn because he had to throw the ball outside the numbers downfield, and he just wasn't left with these big windows on intermediate routes for his guys to just do damage after the catch. But as a quarterback, I know we've talked about this, but he's still, I think, highest in the SEC in terms of amount of time on average from snap to throw. And so he's not a guy that he's still an 18-year-old freshman. He's got all the talent in the world, but he has to see his guy open before he's going to throw it. There's not a throw there for him where you see him anticipating a window between cover two and throwing it and then all of a sudden his receiver is there breaking open. It's like he sees the receiver break open and then he throws the ball to that open receiver. So
yeah, I don't know if these stats, are necessarily coincide with what you're saying, because you're 100% right. But we look at Metchi and Williams, and they're almost 1,600 yards receiving, and that's it. Bolden, Robinson, Latu and Billingsley are well under. The highest one there is Robinson coming out of the backfield at 200
and
yards.
He's not going to play,
and he's not going to play. So this is it's a top heavy receiving core, and
totally.
and if you don't know where the weapons are and where they're going to go to and target, that's it's not predictable or one dimensional, but certainly these are the guys that that he's gonna look for, and that maybe he doesn't, because he's his first year starting, maybe he doesn't find those guys that might be open, or maybe that offensive line's not giving him enough time to get to those reads. And if we can play well against these two top receivers, we can possibly control that explosive offense that they got.
Well, yeah, and he's not that accurate outside the numbers downfield. He's 3 of 11 for 89 yards on the season on balls that are 20 plus yards downfield outside the numbers on the left side. He's 9 of 23 on the outside right. He's a good quarterback, but the key for Georgia in this game, in my opinion, is to take Williams and Metchi and force them to the boundary with your two high safeties and make Bryce Young, if he can hit perfect throws 30 and 40 yards downfield and fit them between a defensive back and a safety that's coming over, and he can do that all day, then you tip your cap to him and say, great job, kid. You deserve to win the game. But I don't think he can. There's not many people walking on earth that can do that all day over and over, first of all. Second of all, I think if you clog the middle with some of these zone looks and you make him see small windows, or you confuse him by dropping athletic linebackers and linemen like Travon Walker into coverage, that freaks him out. Like when it's not vanilla and it's not easy to read, he starts panicking a little bit, and then he starts looking at your pass rush, and then his eyes are not downfield, and all of a sudden, he's getting sacked, or he's not even, he's just looking to run and scramble around, and that's a win with Georgia's team speed on defense. So, yeah, I mean, do you want to start moving into the other section?
We'll get into the predictions here and look at some of what Georgia does well on offense and defense. But again, this is just a little different. I'm telling you, this looks like a Georgia team. It's a Georgia offense. It runs through Bryce. It's got two receivers that are excellent receivers, but not a lot of depth there in production. And Brian Robinson is their number one running back, who likely is not going to play. But behind him, they just, even in SEC play, their running backs are averaging 4.2 yards per carry. It just feels like
I don't feel like this looks like a Georgia offense.
Well, I'm talking about Georgia offense 2012, 2013, 2015, where
Gotcha.
it's just where we're just, we've won the games we're supposed to win. We scored points when we needed to score points. But not a complete team. That's what I mean. It was like a really good team, but not a complete team, and you were facing a complete team on the other side of the ball. It just feels like Georgia has got the more complete team, I guess is my point.
I agree with that for sure. This is the first time these two teams have played since 2007 where Georgia has the better team, straight up.
Yeah, just got to get it done. All right, so moving into our last section here where we got some Georgia plays you want to look at.
Yeah, so this is, I was kind of just talking a minute ago about forcing these receivers to the boundaries and all that. And that works great unless you panic. Like Keely Ringo is the fastest dude on the team. He's got recovery speed for days. There's never any reason why he needs to tackle a wide receiver, but he does so there. So, I think that is something to watch in this game. I think talking about Young, he's a talented quarterback with impressive stats. But like we were talking about, he's got to see it before it's open. But I worry about that slot corner matchup, especially if Chris Smith can't go. Latavius Burney at star. He's been hunted all year by everybody. Tennessee targeted him 5 times for 5 catches on the first 3 drives of the game. Auburn targeted him 12 times. Charleston Southern targeted him, for God's sake. Like, that is the only kind of spot where people have said, I can go and get this guy. So I think that, like, that's the area that I'm concerned about. If Christopher Smith is not healthy and Burney struggles, do you bring William Poole in? What does that look like? I'm not sure. But that's a matchup that I think that if Bill O'Brien is smart, like, he could go after, and that could create big headaches for Georgia. And I think that's the area where I could see Alabama moving the ball on Georgia with consistency. There's also the contain to worry about for Georgia. If you want to play this, Adam Anderson isn't there. And like Robert Beal Jr. was struggling to keep contain on Hendon Hooker the last time we saw him in a big game situation. You're going to see right here, he kind of collapses too early, and Hooker's able to get outside for a first down and 12, 15-yard gain on 3rd and 5. That can't happen. So the flip side of that is that Nolan Smith has struggled to set edges at times. Tennessee clip 6.
Tennessee clip 6. Oh boy, hope I have it. Tennessee clip 6 may not have made it in here. I don't know how I didn't. Sorry, bud. I don't have 6.
It's okay. Yeah. So I mean, I think that, like, Nolan will struggle to set edges as well, and simply put, Georgia needs to keep Bryce Young in the pocket. If they don't, they need to flush him left. So the good news is that, like, if Beal isn't able to set the edges on standard and passing downs, or Nolan Smith is struggling, you bring in all 3 of your inside linebackers and you take turns letting Nakobe and Channing Tindall unleash from that right edge, and you put Trayvon Walker on that left edge and have him flush Bryce Young in the direction of of Dean and Tyndall, who are over on that right edge. And I think that's your solution. That's what you got to do. But those are kind of the areas that concern me in this game for Georgia, is that slot corner and keeping those edges intact.
Yeah, I mean, it's, when you're facing that mobile quarterback, and, we're not lacking health at that, the edge rusher, but, everyone knows where Adam and why Adam's not with the team. And that moves people around. We talk about Monken calling a good game. I have the utmost faith and trust in Kirby and Lanning to call a good defensive game as well. I mean, the defense is, even with not as good a team, has pushed Bama around, and, for sadly just 3 quarters for a lot of those games. So I hope Christopher Smith is there, because that too high safety, he's one of them, right? And when this is, he's played. One of the reasons we're 12-0 is because of his play in the Clemson game. So, have you heard? Like, I keep saying he's practicing, and he could play here, he could play there. I mean, I think he must not be healthy at all if he's not going to play in this game. Have you heard anything on that?
I haven't heard he's not playing in this game. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any inside intel or anything like that. I mean, I've read the same practice reports that everyone else has. I just don't know, and I mean, not knowing is what scares me.
So. Now, backing up just a little bit, we're doing okay on time here before we get into the offense. But if Christopher where does Brini go if Christopher Smith's on the field?
He goes to the bench.
He goes to the bench. Okay, all right. And
I mean, well, in this, I think if Christopher Smith is on the field and Georgia is playing the same package that they played against Tennessee, then Brini goes to the bench. Christopher Smith comes down to star. Dan Jackson goes to free safety.
Dan Jackson, yeah. And Dan Jackson's kind of had a great year, dude.
I know. It would be very, emblematic of this Georgia team for, Dan Jackson to, pick a ball on Saturday. It would just kind of sum up sort of what this team has been in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I was trying to pull it. There it is. Here's our some of our coverage grades, and I've got the linebackers highlighted there because they're
damn good.
They're incredible. I mean, Nakobe Dean was a PFF Player of the Year, 90.8% coverage grade. He's got 2 pass breakups and 2 INTs, and averaging 4.4 yards per carry. The Alabama linebackers by a flip. I mean, Toe is like 9.6 yards per carry per catch, and I mean that's a lot for a linebacker that's going to be challenged within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. I mean, he's not wrapping guys up. But even Channing Tindall, he just has been sort of the unsung hero. A lot of people are singing his praises, but he came out of nowhere, and he's getting a PFF grade of 82.7. And allowing just 5.6 yards per catch, and Dan Jackson, there he is, 75.3. And just 5.7 yards per catch, and on a lot of plays. And it's the secondary and the pass defense has just been so damn good this year.
Yeah, no, it has. I mean, I think that's when people ask me well, why is Georgia's defense so good? Yeah, it's the pass rush and all that stuff. That's great. The front four is great, but the reality is the ability of the linebackers to do everything on the field is what makes Georgia's defense so much different than your average college defense.
All right, back to the plays. All right, where are we on your sheet? Let me get caught up here.
We should be at Kentucky 114.
I think we got it. Here we go.
No, it should be an offensive play from Georgia.
Oh, these got scrambled. All right, here's 113.
Okay, yeah. So, first and foremost, this isn't the same Stetson Bennett we saw in 2020 game in Alabama. He sees the field in 3 dimensions now. Windows for him are no longer on a horizontal plane. He uses trajectory to loft the ball over linebackers and in between safeties and defensive backs. He is a quarterback that you don't have limitations in the playbook with at this point. That improvement is astonishing, and everyone on staff deserves a ton of credit for his development. But Georgia's passing game is capable of attacking every part of the field, and they do a lot of good work outside the numbers. You can play this if you want. Josh Jobe is a DB that Georgia could take advantage from any standpoint, really. Like they can go out there and you can go out there with A.D. Mitchell, who you're going to see here. You can do a lot of different things against Jobe. And Mitchell is a guy I have a question about on Saturday. You know, he's had a little, like, there was a weird timing between him and Stetson last week, and Pickens is back. So I would expect to see Pickens take some of those reps from him. But, like, Stetson is in a groove with all these guys and targeted, 11 wide receivers for completions against Georgia Tech on 20 attempts. And I think the thing in this game and where Mitchell has been key is moving the ball in those 8 to 15 yard chunks this year. And I expect him and McConkey to have some big catches on Saturday. I look for Georgia to take advantage of Harris and To'oTo'o early and often. Harris has been targeted 46 times this season and given up 36 receptions for 435 yards and 5 touchdowns. So I look for Brock Bowers to feast, right? Like every time he gets on these linebackers, he should be ready to go. Against Florida A&M and Arkansas, Harris gave up 13 catches on 15 targets for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. To'oTo'o has a reception percentage this year of about 75%. Arkansas hit him 4 catches on 4 targets for 58 yards and a touchdown. I think an underrated thing that Georgia does well that no one really recognizes is throwing to the running backs. Even when it's just a long check down to the sideline, these running backs catch well, and they do a great job making things happen after the catch. They haven't done it much because they haven't needed to, but I think they will use these types of throws, these kind of long outlets to Zeus and Cook and McIntosh and whoever's out there on Saturday for a few reasons. 1, it's effective. 2, it gets your guys in one-on-one matchups. 3, Georgia can take this and keep Will Anderson off balance. I think that Monken has been saving James Cook since the Tennessee game, and he gave him a pretty light workload with vanilla play calling the last couple of weeks. It's because he knows Cook is the mismatch in a game like this. He's got the speed and the vision to make To'oTo'o and Harris pay for those run fits where they're just a split second late coming in from that inside linebacker spot. So I think you'll see him get a handoff and cut it against the play like he did here and possibly take it. Monken was feeding Cook last year in this game before things got out of hand and Georgia had to abandon the run game. They also obviously can match him up in the passing game, of course. They did it last year against Alabama. Anytime Georgia can get Cook on a linebacker in the pass game, it could be 6 points. We saw it at Tennessee. I know that everybody saw this play and was like, oh, that's the Alabama play again. This is the Alabama play right here. 82-yard touchdown pass, I think it was. If you can get him in those matchups, man, like it's over. Like it's not over, but I mean it's just a huge advantage. He's such a weapon. And then obviously he also has the ability to catch those angle routes and get on safeties as well. Like I think that even on some of the Bama safeties, I think it's still a huge matchup. It's not as big a matchup as when he's on the linebackers, but he can do that right there to a safety all day and take those for 6. So in the run game, I think Georgia will do its thing between the tackles and try and grind out little 3 to 4 yard gains. But like they have all year, the big gainers are going to have to come outside the numbers. A lot of times that just looks like Georgia's running backs bouncing some of these inside zone and split zone concepts outside. But I think that like these Alabama linebackers, it's the worst Alabama linebacking core that I've seen and I don't know how long, and I'm weary to say that because that was sort of the consensus going into the Georgia-Alabama game last year was the Alabama linebackers are not very good and yada, 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 and they look lost. And then all of a sudden they didn't look lost anymore. And they made some really big plays. and Georgia lost that game by 17 points. But I look at this team and I think, there's a huge mismatch there. There's a big mismatch between Job and whoever Georgia can get on him. I think that they can get on the safeties as well at times. Just across the board, I think that there are a lot of things that Georgia can take advantage of. And I think that Georgia needs to come out in this game and pass to set up the run. And I think if they can come out and pass early and effectively, that will set up the run, and that they might actually have some success on the inside run just because of how off balance Alabama's defense might be at that point.
Yeah, Henry To'os have been targeted 34 times, 0 pass breakups, 0 INTs, and a 46.8 PFF grade in pass coverage. And you can see, we just highlighted the Georgia, yards per reception on our linebackers. You can see that this group doesn't have anybody close to that secondary or linebacker wise. That's holding, wrapping up guys, and it's that Henry To'o, it's like he's got to be targeted. If they're going to target Brini, if he's out there, then To'o. I'll take Brini over To'o right now in a lot of these matchups.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I'll go along with that. And Monken targeted him with McIntosh in the Tennessee game last year. I don't know if you remember that play. I couldn't find it in our vault, but I'm sure it's in there somewhere.
To'o had a bad game last year versus Georgia.
Yeah. Like, he's a thumper. If you run, 22 dive at him all day, then he'll come up and flap your ass. But like, he's not a Channing Tindall. He's not an Kobe Dean. He's not a Quay Walker in terms of the way that he does not scrape and fill the way that those guys do. He gets, kind of lost a little bit in some of those run fits, and he'll get washed out of the play sometimes.
Yeah. Graham, I hope the offense is more crisp than your co-host today on some of these plays, but
you're good, bro. It's freaking
2 o'clock in the morning.
2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Let's just be happy we're getting something out.
We got
the point across, dude. It's fun.
Yeah, exactly. You've seen all this before. No, it is. I have this the whole bell curve from a statistician pretend to be, at least, and it's like I have this. Mm-hmm. It's almost like I have a Munson curve, and I think just today I hit Munson's like behind me, and I'm down in here in the 2021 defensive curve, which has got me pretty excited.
Positivity zone?
In the positivity zone. So now
nice.
I've been looking at these defensive numbers, and it's just like, even if there's going to be some regression, Georgia's going to give up some plays, and it's just but it's just so good. I really hope that they can put an exclamation point on this season right now and go 13-0, win the SEC, because this defense has deserved it, and anything less of that obviously would be disappointed. But I just think they're ready for this. This is the game they've been they've been practicing to beat everybody, as the t-shirts were printed to say.
So what do you think's going to happen, man?
I think it's going to be my score predictions 27-21. I think that both teams are going to be held below their season averages on points, yards, and successful plays. Georgia's, like I said, on defense, averaging 19 successful plays allowed on defense. Alabama's around 24. So I expect, Alabama to probably have close 17, 18 successful plays. And if we hold, if you're talking about 0.7 of those lead to points, you're looking at a 17, 18, 19, 20 point output by the Alabama offense, and Georgia will be better than that. I think our special teams are going to give us some advantages, both in the punting game. I expect it to be some stressful times. Honestly, I think it'll be a close game, and we're going to need all facets of the game, including Camarda, to pin him deep a couple times. I don't expect a lot of aggressive fourth down calls. I think Kirby's going to be leaning on that defense a lot. I've taken the under, and I'm going to say 20. I'm going to say 28-21, just so I can I'm going to lay the points
spread.
Yeah.
That's That's interesting. Okay. That surprises me a little bit. You kind of just threw me off a little bit in terms of what I was planning on doing. You got me questioning myself a little bit here.
Nah, you're the expert, dude.
I don't know about all that.
I did say 45-0. I did say 45-0 in the Tech game. So
you did exactly. So, I mean, shit. If you're right, then Georgia still wins. So, I mean, that's good. Man, there's been part of me that like all week has gone through this, and just because I want to like prove to people that I'm impartial, has been like, let me find the thing that will let me pick Alabama in this game, from a place of just honesty and good conscience. I can't find it though. I can't. And that's just the reality. Like I want to be right more than anything, more than proving to Alabama fans that I'm not a homer.
Bama fans, I am a homer. So
I just, man, I sat there and I watched that Arkansas tape over again, and Arkansas was able to do a lot to that defense, man. They were. And it just like that's not a team that's been a lethal passing attack all year. I mean, like they're not a super crisp timing based passing attack. Like they were just able to go out and kind of just beat Bama in one-on-one matchups and do enough in the run game at times to stay honest. And, all of a sudden they looked up and they put up 38 points. So I think that the Georgia offense has been slept on all year. I think it's being slept on going into this game. I think that in terms of Alabama, like, what's the old quote when someone tells you who they are? Listen. And I mean, I think they've told us who they are against LSU, against Auburn, against Arkansas. I think that they are a very good football team. I don't think they're an elite or great football team. I think that Georgia, like, this game just feels to me like one of those situations where it's just going to be, there's going to be that spot somewhere where the dam just kind of breaks. And Georgia's able to just make a couple good plays, or, maybe it's a fumble from the backup running back that's not used to playing, or maybe it's a turnover from Bryce Young, like off of all this pass rush, or maybe it's a strip sack. But I think there's going to be somewhere in here a sequence where like Georgia scores a touchdown, turnover, touchdown, and just kind of creates that separation that Bama's never really able to go on a run and put back. Without a run game, I think it's going to be hard for Alabama to avoid 3 and outs. I think that you're going to see them go 3 and out a lot. I also think you're going to see some big plays, but like I think that you're going to see Georgia get a lot of possessions in this game, and for that reason, I am going to go 41-21.
I like it.
I know it's big, man. I keep being like, is this?
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
it
just, like, I think Georgia should blow them out, man. I could see it being 41-24, 45-24, 38-21, or somewhere in that range. But I think that Georgia can score into the high 30s or low 40s on them.
That's if you're telling me there's going to be some 3 and outs, that they're going to give us an extra possession, I can see getting into the 30s. I don't, it's like Georgia's, and granted, a lot of these games of, everyone, garbage time is the term of the year for sure. Talking about this offense and stuff. I surely don't think that even if there is technically garbage time that Kirby will take his foot off the gas. But if you're telling me you can break through that ceiling of 30 successful plays a game in this game, that's pretty exciting to me. Yeah, because that definitely puts 38-41, that point total on the board. I think this defense will contain it a little bit. But I mean, the difference between 28-21 and 41-21 is not that much. It's a
fine margin. It's a finer margin than a lot of people realize. I agree with you there.
So I think I got you thinking, you got me thinking. So I mean, I like your thinking a lot because I'm gonna be there. I don't want to be stressed. I want to.
Are you? I didn't realize that you're gonna be at the game.
Yeah, I got my good friend who's got Falcon season tickets is able to actually get me in the lower level, dude. So I'm pretty excited.
Dude,
yeah.
FTMF goes to the luxury box.
No, it's just regular. It's just regular seats. But no,
no, that's awesome, man. That's gonna be a blast, dude. I'm happy for you.
Yeah,
I'm jealous as hell, but I'm super happy for you.
Looking forward to it. All right, Graham, it's way late. You've got a flight to catch in the morning. Guys, we will be back to break this game down at some point. It's the holiday season.
We might even be back on Friday to just, chat a little bit and make
that'd be fun.
Weekend picks or something if you want.
Yeah, we should do that for sure. And in the meantime, share us, follow us, retweet us. We appreciate you guys. It's been a fun year. I'm looking forward to a big game on Saturday night. Graham, I appreciate all the hard work that you put in. I mean, we have
appreciate you.
Yeah, we have over 1,000 plays in our little play vault that we go through, and Graham's probably seen every one of them 5 or 6 times at least. So
it's probably true at this point, actually. Yeah.
All right, Graham. Any closing thoughts before we shut us down tonight?
Yeah, my closing thought would be, I've watched the tape, and if this was an Auburn helmet instead of an Alabama helmet, I would predict this game to be a pretty decent sized margin of a win for Georgia. And so I think like the psychological trick here is it's Alabama, so we're not used to seeing Alabama get beat at all. I mean, what they did at the end of that game last week was spooky, right? Watch like the way they came back and won that game. It's like, oh God. It's just, I don't think this Georgia team lets you up once they get you down. And I think that Stetson Bennett is going to be like, I told you so guy of the year, of the century on Saturday night, because I think he's gonna ball out on Saturday night. I really do.
Is he your MVP?
James Cook's my MVP. But
yeah, I like James Cook or Bowers.
James Cook
or Bowers.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love that too. It also could be
Nakobe Dean,
Jalen Carter, or Trevon Walker. Yeah, anybody on that defense. Tyndall. I think one thing Georgia's been pretty good at this year is like when they do get to the quarterback, a lot of times they are able to knock the ball loose. There's part of me that wonders a little bit, Josh, to be honest with you. And we wish nothing but 100% full health for everybody. But there's part of me that wonders if Bryce Young will make it through this entire game. If there's a scenario where this goes a certain way and he's not in this game the entire time, just because
I think you just struck fear in everyone's heart with that. Because the back.
No, dude, Paul Tyson is hot garbage. I'm sorry, like he's Bear Bryant's grandkid, man. They pulled him from the holder duties last week after he fumbled the hold on a field goal attempt. Like he's not that dude. He's not the guy that's going to come in and start tearing up your defense and scrambling all over the place. He's no Jalen Hurts. If he comes into the game, then Georgia just ends up getting a lot more sacks. So, yeah.
All right. I like it. Graham, big win for the Dogs. I've got a closer win in covering. Let's go. And, we're going to talk to you guys soon. Enjoy the game. And thank you again, Graham. And go Dogs.
Thank you, Josh. Go Dogs.